So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News and Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, needless to say this, just after watching this lecture, you need to revise it as well. Because revising this lecture would consolidate these current affairs which you have just watched in your memory. Otherwise, you'll quickly forget them. So please do not forget to revise this lecture from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. So do check that out. Okay? Alright then. Enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture. So let's begin. So daily current affairs, 15th September, Monday. And here is the list of topics that we shall cover today. So September 13th marks the anniversary, 77th anniversary for Operation Polo. It was an Indian Army operation. Almost the first Indian Army operation in independent India. Okay, so we'll talk about Operation Polo. Then we'll talk about this Scarborough Shoal or islands. Scarborough Shoal is a group of islands and it is a disputed territory between Philippines and China. So we'll talk about this issue. Then there is another tribal dispute that is going on currently in the state of Jharkhand, and that is with respect to Ho tribe. And they are particularly agitated about their Manki-Munda system. So what is this Manki-Munda system that is practiced by Ho tribe, and what is this entire dispute all about? We'll talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about this reform in the sector of school education. Basically, we are utilizing artificial intelligence to improve learning outcomes in school-going children. Okay, and this is personalized adaptive learning. So what is personalized adaptive learning? What is its efficacy? How effective it is? And what are some of the challenges that are being faced by this software tool? Okay, so these are the 4 news items that we shall zero in our attention on. So let's start discussing them one by one, starting with topic number 1, and that would be Operation Polo. Okay, now listen to me carefully. Some of the facts that I'm going to reveal right now are already known to you, okay? Nonetheless, still listen to me. You see, when India got independence, okay, well, there were 2 Indias, British India and princely states. So during British rule, there were 2 Indias, British India and princely states. There were some princely states that were ruled by Rajas, Maharajas, Nawabs, Sultans, Nizams, okay? But they were under the suzerainty of British Crown. Yet they were independent. They were not part of British India. Now in 1947, British India was divided into 2 parts, India and Pakistan. But what was the fate of these princely states? There were more than 500 princely states. So what was the fate of these princely states? Well, a choice was given to them. Okay, they can either join Pakistan, they can either join India, or they can also choose to remain independent. The Britishers said that to them. They can choose to remain independent. Okay? But the ones which wanted to be independent, well, there was external pressure from either India or Pakistan. So in case of Balochistan, Balochistan wanted to be independent, but Pakistan army, well, invaded Balochistan and annexed it. Okay? Similarly, there were cases like that in Indian side of British India as well. Okay, not exactly the brutal crackdown done by Pakistan army in Balochistan. That was not there in India. Yet there were similar actions where, well, the Indian government had to apply force to annex to basically integrate that princely state into India. Most princely states were integrated into India through peaceful means. Now, one particular state was the state of Hyderabad, and Nizam of Hyderabad was adamant on being independent, having an independent relationship with the British Crown, or he even threatened to join Pakistan. Now Nizam of Hyderabad, well, was the ruler of this Hyderabad state, and this Hyderabad state had, well, areas of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, some parts of Karnataka, and even some parts of current Maharashtra as well. Okay. Now, such a big state, well, he threatened, or such a big state threatened that, well, they will go to either Pakistan or would remain independent. Okay. Now, this really concerned Indian establishment, especially Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. He was really concerned about this. Okay. Plus, people of the Hyderabad state were also revolting against the Nizam. and the Nizam actually conducted a brutal crackdown on people. Okay, now because of these conditions, well, the Indian Army conducted an operation called Operation Polo. Thereby, they defeated the Nizam's forces, Nizam's army, subdued them, and then Nizam agreed to join the Union of India. Now, this entire army operation or security operation was called Operation Polo. It started on September 13th and ended on September 17th in 4 days. Clear? So, September 13th marks the 77th anniversary of Operation Polo. So, we'll talk about this entire Hyderabad issue. Okay, so let's discuss this. So, Operation Polo, okay, so September 13th marks the 77th anniversary. Okay, now this operation was an operation of Indian Armed Forces and it was led by Major General Jayant Nath Chaudhary. Okay, he led this operation. So General Chaudhary actually led this operation, and in 4 days, Nizam's forces were subdued. Okay. Now, to understand the entire Operation Polo, well, you need to understand a bit of background of this entire issue. Okay. So let's discuss its background. So first of all, this was Hyderabad, the state of Hyderabad. Okay, the princely state of Hyderabad. So there were about 500 princely states. Okay. Out of these 500 plus princely states, well, Hyderabad state was one of the largest, not the largest, but one of the largest. Okay. And it had parts of, well, Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana and Maharashtra. Within this entire state of Hyderabad, okay, well, the area of this entire estate or this entire princely state of Hyderabad was around 80,000 square miles. And it was ruled by a monarch called Nizam. Nizam of Hyderabad. Nizam was a title. Okay. Now, Nizam was an extremely famous man. Okay. Nizam was extremely famous. Nizam was extremely rich, affluent, very rich, one of the richest people in the entire world. And he had good connections with the Arab world. Okay. The Caliphate, Arab world. And he had very good connections with the British also. That is why British tacitly supported his idea of independence. So when India and Pakistan got independence, India definitely wanted to integrate Hyderabad within this entire country of India. Nizam refused. He first said that I want to basically be independent and have independent relations with British Crown. Then when Indian side was forcing him, so he even threatened that if you will continuously pressurize me, then I would be forced to join Pakistan instead. Now, why Pakistan? Because Nizam was a Muslim. He was a Muslim ruler of the state of Hyderabad and he had good relations with the landlords and the elites of Pakistan as well, including Jinnah. Okay. Now, about Hyderabad. So, you all know the area of this entire region. Okay. This is Hyderabad and ruled by Nizam. Now, this entire region, this entire state had different types of populations. Okay. So, there were Kannada speaking people. Okay. Telugu speaking people. Even Marathi speaking people. Okay. The population was huge. Clear? Now, when Nizam said that he wants to be independent, well, the Indian establishment really got concerned. Because if Nizam was allowed to be independent, well, this entire territory is huge. This entire territory can cut off North India from South India, almost cut off North India from South India. Okay. In fact, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel said that if Hyderabad is allowed to remain independent, this will be like a cancer in India's belly. These are the words used by Sardar Patel, India's first Home Minister. Cancer in India's belly. We cannot allow to do that. Okay. This is really dangerous if Nizam remains independent. There was this another thing. Okay. And this is the background that you should be aware of. Okay. Now, Nizam was a Muslim ruler. Okay. But the majority of population of this entire state of Hyderabad was Hindu. Right. Plus, it is said that the entire agricultural system of the state of Hyderabad, or the land revenue system of the entire state of Hyderabad, was extremely exploitative. Okay, and mostly the landowners or the landed elites were Muslims, whereas most Hindus were peasants. And the entire system was extremely exploitative, extremely draconian, the land revenue system. Clear? Therefore, well, many peasants, they got agitated and they were rebelling against Nizam. Clear? They were rebelling against Nizam. Eventually, the peasants got the support of Andhra Mahasabha. Okay, Andhra Mahasabha and Communist Party of India. Communist Party of India thought that they should basically co-opt the cause of peasants, and they launched a movement. Now, Nizam actually had a political party, not a political party, but there was an organization that supported Nizam, and that was called Ittihad ul Muslimin. It was headed by an Aligarh-based lawyer called Qasim Rizvi. Okay, they wanted Nizam to be independent because under Nizam's rule, well, landed Muslim elites were held power. Okay, in fact, they allied with a paramilitary force called Razakars. Okay, so Ittihadul Muslimin supported Nizam, and they had a paramilitary force called Razakars. Now, Razakars basically performed a brutal crackdown of these peasants. They were openly murdered, exploited, villages were raided. It was a brutal crackdown. So much so that the situation was really dire in the state of Hyderabad, and therefore Indian Army had to launch Operation Polo. Indian establishment had to launch Operation Polo. Clear? That was the entire background. This was Operation Polo. Now, under Operation Polo, well, the operation started on 13th September, okay? And within 4 days, well, Nizam's army, Razakars, they surrendered. And on September 17th, the Nizam announced from his own radio channel that, well, people should live peacefully. I am banning Razakars and we have now joined India. So people should live in harmony with India, the Indian Union. So this was your Operation Polo. You should know about this. It is a very important part of India's history. Questions can be asked. So remember this. Okay. And we shall quickly shift our focus to second news item, and that is Scarborough Shoal dispute. Now, what is Scarborough Shoal? Listen to me carefully. Scarborough Shoal is basically a group of islands in the South China Sea. Okay. Now, Scarborough Islands or Scarborough Shoals, well, this is a disputed territory between Philippines and China. So these are a group of islands and they are uninhabited. No one lives on these islands. Yet these islands are disputed between Philippines and China. Okay. Now recently China announced that it is going to build a nature park on these islands. Okay. It is a very big nature park to protect and preserve and conserve the fragile coral reefs of these islands. So China is saying that we are creating a nature park, a national park, a marine national park on these islands to protect coral reefs. But Philippines has disputed this. Okay, Philippines is saying that though China is saying they want to protect coral reefs, but China is actually basically will send its own people on these islands and then will send its army and then control the entire region. China is exerting control on these islands and these islands belong to us, which is Philippines. So Philippines has objected to this. Now this was in the news. Therefore, we need to know about Scarborough Shoals. Alright, so let's talk about this. So Scarborough Shoal dispute. Okay, by the way, it is called Scarborough. Why? Because there was this ship of East India Company. Remember East India Company, the one that colonized India? East India Company had a ship called Scarborough. Okay, so there it was traveling through South China Sea and there was a storm. So this ship had to take refuge at these islands in the 18th century. This happened in 18th century. Okay, so they had to basically dock to protect themselves from the storm at these islands, right? From then onwards, these islands were called Scarborough Shoal. So they are named after a ship of East India Company that docked in 18th century to protect itself from the storm. Clear? Now, if we take a look at the map, then as you can see, this is China, this is Philippines. Okay, this green is Philippines. Now, Scarborough Shoals is around this area. This is Scarborough Shoals. And these islands, collectively called Scarborough Shoals, are triangle shaped. So there are so many islands, they are arranged in the form of a triangle. Clear? Now, if you can see this yellow line, this is the area claimed by Philippines. And if you see this red line, this is the area claimed by China. And within this lies Scarborough Shoals. Both sides stake claim on these islands. Now the question is, if this island is uninhabited, no one lives on these islands, then why are these two sides adamant on controlling this island? What is so significant about this island if no one lives on this, right? It is significant, and I'll tell you the significance of this island. Okay, number one, the sea around these islands is extremely rich fishing grounds. Okay, fishermen from both countries and even other countries like Vietnam and all, they have been traditionally fishing in these areas. Whichever country controls this island will actually control whose fishermen can come here and fish. So fishing is important for these countries for food security. So these are rich fishing grounds. Some people say that these areas also have hydrocarbons. That claim is disputed. Then, control over this island. Okay, this island is very close to global sea lanes of shipping lanes, where international ships cross from. Now, around 2 to 3 trillion of maritime trade occurs through these ships annually. So whoever controls this island will control the passage of these ships, which is important for international trade. This is why. So its strategic location is very important, right? So rich fishing grounds, hydrocarbons, strategic location, these are the reasons why both sides are staking claim on this. Now this entire dispute started in 2012. Okay, when Philippines Navy actually stopped Chinese Coast Guard. There was a military standoff, and then China sent its military and all and annexed this area. Okay, then China started sending its own patrol vessels, Coast Guard around this area, and from then onwards, well, Philippines has been knocking the doors of international courts to step into the matter because China is bullying to take control over Scarborough Shoals. In fact, the matter went to Permanent Court of Arbitration. And Permanent Court of Arbitration also said that this island kind of belongs to Philippines. Yet, China does not admit to that, and it is still a disputed territory. Clear? So, China and Philippines don't see eye to eye. And this is one area where India and Philippines can get closer because the thing is, both these countries have disputes with China. So, India and Philippines can naturally come together. That's another strategic point of view. Nonetheless, this is the dispute regarding Scarborough Shoals. And the entire South China Sea is disputed because there are many other islands, Partleys Islands and many other, which are disputed between China and other countries. Okay, Vietnam and all. Clear? So this is Scarborough Shoals. Now let's quickly shift our focus to third news item, and that is Ho tribe's Manki-Munda system. Okay. Now recently, well, in the state of Jharkhand, there is a particular region in Jharkhand which is known as Kolhan region. Ho tribals are in majority in that region. Okay. And they have their own system of governance. Now initially, when the Britishers came to India, they tried to suppress Ho tribes, but they failed. There were so many tribal revolts by Ho tribes. So when Britishers failed to suppress Ho tribals, then they decided to co-opt them. Okay. Now how did they co-opt them? Look, Ho tribals had their own village governance system. Okay. But the Britishers were here to collect land revenue. Now for that, they appointed zamindars whose job was to collect land revenue and give it to the British. But the Hos would not accept any outside zamindar to collect revenue from them, because for them they have their own system of governance. Okay, so what did the British do? The British said that, well, we will appoint your system only. So the Ho tribals had their own system known as the Munda Munki system. These will be appointed as zamindars only. They will collect revenue and give it to us. So it was kind of a middle ground between the British system and the Ho tribal system. In a way, Ho tribes their system was integrated into the Union of India, British India basically. Clear? Now India got independence in 1947, but this system continued. Now recently Ho tribals, well, they are not happy with the local district administration because they are saying that this district administration is trying to dilute their traditional system of governance. So they are protesting. So this was the entire dispute, right? So let's talk about Ho tribals, Munda Munki system, okay, and the current dispute. Clear? Okay. So Ho tribes, Munda Munki system, Manki-Munda system. This tribe is in Jharkhand. Okay, Kolhan region of Jharkhand. Clear? Now, what is this Munda Munki system? So they had their own governance system. Okay. Now, this was a society. This tribe was a society. There will be political disputes, social disputes, right? So, who would resolve these disputes? Currently, in villages, there is a village headman, sarpanch, panchayat. There are village headmen, right? So, Ho tribals had their own system. Okay, so what was this system? So Ho tribe of Jharkhand's Kolhan region, the Munda Munki system. Okay, so every village will have a head called Munda. So Munda will basically head a village. All social political disputes in that village shall be resolved by Munda. Okay, Munda was a post. Then collection of 8 to 15 villages was known as a peer. The entire peer was headed by a Munki. Okay, so if the dispute was not resolved at the Munda level, then the appeal would go to the Munki. Okay, and these Mundas and Munkis were the leaders of this tribe. Now what the Britishers did was, they tried to suppress them. They couldn't. So they co-opted Mundas and Munkis and appointed them as their own zamindars. So they didn't use the title zamindar, but they said that you collect land revenue and give it to us. Okay, so their power was protected and the British co-opted the elites of Ho tribe. Clear? This was the system. So the British appointed Captain Thomas Wilkinson as their political agent in the Kolhan government estate. So this was a special province created for Ho tribals. Okay, in 1833, he drafted a set of 31 rules called Wilkinson rules, which will govern this entire region. Okay, this 1833 draft rules were solidified in 1837 and locally it was known as Hukuknama, which governed the entire system of governance in this Kolhan region. Clear? Now India got independence. When India got independence, this province, Kolhan government estate, was dissolved. State of Jharkhand is there now. Okay. Yet the Wilkinson rules still continue. Okay. So Mundas and Munkis perform the roles of village headmen, sarpanch, panchayats and all. Clear? Now, what was the dispute? Well, in that entire region, well, it's not just the Ho tribals that are living. There are many SC and ST, there are many SC communities, OBC communities that are living in this Kolhan region. Yes, this area is inhabited by Ho tribe, but well, other SCs and OBCs are also living. Now, they have lodged complaint against various Mundas and Munkis that they are not performing their duties, they are sometimes not available in their office. So there have been many complaints. So the district collector of this area, he basically gave a 9-point ruling to ensure more transparency in the Munda system. Now Ho tribals considered this as an interference in their traditional system and that's why they are protesting. So that was the entire issue. Clear? Makes sense? Plus this entire Munda Munki system, though they perform the role of village headmen, okay, they perform the roles of sarpanch, which is a political post recognized in Indian constitution. But this Munda system, Munki system is also hereditary. After father, it passes on to the son. And if there is no son, the post remains vacant. So this is an issue which the government has to balance out. Nonetheless, this is the conflict. Clear? That's about it. And last, very fascinating, but not the least, that is personalized adaptive learning. Okay? We all know that AI is entering into our lives. It is basically crossing paths with every aspect of our life. Now, people have thought of using AI to improve education, especially school education. So, some person came up with personalized adaptive learning. He also received the Nobel Prize also for this. Nonetheless, personalized adaptive learning, what is it? So, under personalized adaptive learning, there is an AI tool, AI software. This reform or this AI tool, basically it believes that, look, every student has different needs, different requirements, and different skill level. They have different learning level also. Each student has a different learning level. So they should be taught after understanding their learning level. So first you have to assess the level of the student and then create his course material, his lectures, everything according to that. It should be personalized to the needs of the student. Okay. So what this AI tool does is, well, this AI tool is a software on iPad. So first, the student has to give a test of sorts or play a game on this AI tool. This game is something like every student has to collect points, win in this game. Okay. It is designed in such a way that the students interact with this AI tool, and through that interaction, this AI tool gets to know the learning level of that student. After getting to know the learning level, and now you can know the learning level through various ways. Probably the students are asked to play a game, and well, in that the students have to earn some points, and based on those points, learning level is deduced. Based on that learning level, well, the entire curriculum is designed for that student. Okay. This is all about this AI tool called PAL. Now, PAL has been in use in the entire world for quite some time, and it has been used by various edtech companies in India as well, in various schools of India as well. Now, people are talking about its effectiveness and what are the challenges. Can this tool be used as a panacea? Can this be applied everywhere in India, in every school? Well, the answer is a little bit complicated. So let's talk about this, okay? So personalized adaptive learning. So about PAL, it involves the use of a software on a tablet or computer to first determine the learning level of a student. It is designed to be dynamic. Each student may get different material and questions based on what their initial level is. Okay. EdTech companies across the world provide versions of this software. Clear? Now, what are the benefits of this? Why is there a need for this PAL software? Well, each class has students at different levels of learning. So you should tailor make their courses according to their learning level. Okay. For example, Annual Status of Education Report 2024 says that 44.8% of class 5 students in government schools could read a class 2 text. So class 5 students, 44% of class 5 students were as good as class 2 students. This is as per the ASER report, Annual Status of Education. Every student in a class has different learning levels. So, well, you should create their curriculum accordingly. Clear? That's where PAL helps. Now, is it effective or not? Well, the answer is that more research needs to be done. Because the aim is that PAL will improve learning outcomes. Okay? But learning outcomes depend on various other factors also. Their socio-economic factors, how much time people are spending on this software. Many other factors are required to know whether this software is actually helpful or not. So more research needs to be done. In India, what has been found is that it was applied in some schools of India. It definitely improved learning outcomes. That was the result of the study. But it did not improve examination outcome. So students learned more, but their score in their exams did not improve drastically. So no one knows, well, what is the issue? Clear? Plus, if you're thinking about applying this entire software to the entire country, okay, all schools in the entire country, there are various challenges. Okay, around 60% of schools in India do not have internet access, do not have computer access. Plus, many teachers in India, they themselves are not trained on these iPads, AI tools and all that. So if you are going to use this across India, first equip all your schools with internet, computer and train your teachers. Okay, that's all. That's about it. That is as far as today's lecture is concerned. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But it will add more value if you're consistent and regular with this lecture and you revise it from the notes provided by us. So please do not forget to do that, and I shall see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.